Once you've gone into Google Classroom to the assignment post for 9/21/20 week 3 review slides, you'll open up your own set of slides. It will have your name on it. So you'll see your name and then this title up here at the top. First, you want to read the directions on each slide. Do not delete any slides. If you do it, you have to do the undo button to get something back. This is the undo button right away, because if you exit out of them and go back, it only records that undo when you immediately do it. So if you accidentally deleted my direction or a line or an answer, undo it using this button up here so that you have the information, because you have to fill this in. This is an assignment, so you have to make sure you're not changing it so that you can get the points. You're going to use the week 3 lesson slides for help with answers. So slides that we've been reviewing, you can use to help you. Watch direction, and you go back to any of the week 3 slides last week and the weekly 3 agenda, and you can get help. So where we talked about weather, where we did some review, and we have them all in Thursday's slides from last week, the 17th. We did some review together and then did a Kahoot. So you can look at those slides about weather, climate, temperature, precipitation, ocean currents, air currents. Look at those lessons and go back to the slides for some of these answers. Make sure you watch the direction video, and you can pause it and let it help you with the answers. So on the first slide, the directions, type in the correct word to fill in the blank. So from our week 3 lesson slides, remember to add a text box. It's the box with the T in it. You're going to click on it, add a text box. Blank is the day-to-day changes in air temperature and precipitation. That would be weather. So I add weather. My next answer, I need to go back up, add a text box. Blank is the average weather patterns for a place over many years. So that is climate. Go back up. Blank have a temperate climate or seasons. So now we're talking about those 3 latitude zones. We have high latitudes, middle latitudes, low latitudes. And I would look at that slide to figure out which ones have temperate, which is where we live, where we have seasons. And that's the middle latitudes. And you can make your box longer so it all fits nicely on one. Make sure they don't run together. Other blank and other large bodies of water. So this is a body of water. The biggest ones that we have are oceans, and other large bodies of water affect Earth's climates. And then blank is the height above sea level. So what did we talk about as you climb up the mountain? Another factor that affects climate is altitude. So you can pause the video and have your help. Make sure you're following these directions. And you're going back to the slides to figure these whenever you have an assignment, so you know how to add the text box. Next is our latitude zones directions. Label the latitude zones for climate. So it's going to give you some hints. Right here it says, label the correct latitude for each line. So when you label latitude, I'm going to add the text box. We talked about the North Pole as being 90, and we need the degree sign. So I had to remind myself to insert a special character like the degree sign. You have this place called special characters for insert special characters, and you get a box and you can just search the word degree, and it's going to give you the little circle that we use for the symbol for degree. And it's going to pop up in my text box. And then you can just exit out. You can then just copy and paste it for each one. And we always label them with a capital letter. Latitude will always be north of the equator or south of the equator. So you would always label it that. So 90 degrees north is the North Pole. I'm going to add another text box. The Arctic Circle is 66 and a half. Whoops. So I just used the slash. And I'm going to need this degree sign again. So instead of going through all that insert, I can do a copy paste and put it into this box, or you can go back and insert special character and just search for degree, or it might be there because you've used it. And then I have to label it with a capital N, 66.5 degrees north. The Tropic of Cancer, we do another text box, and that's going to be 23.5. Oh, so yeah, if I put a space after the number, it actually makes it the half the fraction. So 23.5, I have to copy that again. Make sure I get my degree sign. Control V and degree north. So, and then the equator is 0 degrees. And because you can't be north or south of yourself, you don't label that one. You just put 0 degrees. That's the latitude for that. You don't put north or south. Now you're going to go down. The Tropic of Capricorn is going to be, and you could copy and paste this and change the N to an S, 23.5 degrees north, or I'm sorry, 23.5 degrees south. The next one you could copy and paste from the Arctic Circle, the Antarctic Circle, but you're going to change the N to a capital S for south. And you could do the same for the South Pole, copy this box, put 90 degrees and the S for south. When you come over here, label latitude for each zone. So the name of those latitudes. So for this side are high latitudes for the high numbers. You can copy and paste that and just change the front. So we can copy and paste that and move it down to your line. And this green area where there's temperate or seasons, you're going to put middle. And then you would do the same for the low latitudes. This says label the temperature for each climate zone. So for this, I'm going to say in the red, we talked about there that get the most direct sunlight, it's always hot. And for the green, we said seasons. So it's seasonal. We know it's going to have some cold winters, some hot summers. We just say seasonal or seasons. And then in the high latitudes, you're going to use this arrow down here. The high latitudes are always cold or freezing. So you're going to put on here what the temperature is, what that climate, a keyword that helps us remember what it's like in that area. The final slide explains how evaporation is important to us having fresh water. So you have a picture here and you need complete sentences when you type in the box. And the water cycle is the movement of water from Earth's surface to the atmosphere. And this is in that textbook. You have a page on that, on the part 3. You had a text page that you read, and you can go back to that document with the text page. It's on the week 3 agenda. And you need to be clear. Oceans are salt water, while rivers and lakes have fresh water. Should be space. So I always edit, go back and read your writing, make it edit. This is going to be a final paragraph that you turn in. So this should be a paragraph. So evaporation is water rising as gas. I'm trying to think of the right words to say it. So I'm thinking out loud as I write, and this is the process that you need to do. Sometimes I start a sentence and I don't like how it's said, but I'm going to explain about how evaporation with the heat is going to have just the water rise. The water molecules turn into a gas to be able to rise into the mist, and the salt stays behind. So I have to be clear that the salt stays behind in the ocean, and then air currents, it becomes condensation, the clouds, air currents move it over land, and it becomes precipitation into our lakes and rivers, which resupplies them with fresh water. So I'm not going to show you the exact wording because I want you to think about that wording, but we've talked it through the process, and you can go back and look at the text page to help you also. And then don't forget, you need to go back into the assignment in Google Classroom and hit that turn in button when you've looked at all 3 slides and are sure you're done.